So one of the issues we've been working a lot with clients in the last couple of months is about how they take what they're doing in the US or the UK and take it across Europe. And in terms of social media strategy, I think a lot of people are going in and saying, let's have a Facebook page everywhere. Let's have a global Facebook strategy, which we know from stuff we've written on the blog in the past is perhaps the worst way of having a social media strategy, but globally is even worse. For instance, in the Netherlands, it's not about Facebook, it's about Hive. In Brazil, it's not about Facebook, it's about Orkut. And thinking that we're just going to take what we do in the UK, the US, and an English-speaking market and taking it abroad really doesn't work. A few examples from work we've been doing with a number of multinationals recently. One is looking at ways to get people discussing and sharing information about a product across different European markets. And we've been looking at ways to do this and using the fact that in Italy, for example, there's a real culture that's grown of media sharing, video, photo, really showing that around issues and around experiences. And the kind of thing that you don't get, say, in Spain, where photo sharing there's a lot of, video sharing not so much of. France is a great blogging culture. There's a kind of blogging culture in France that, say, we don't have in the UK, where people blog about what they're doing, about things they care about, and people congregate often around those kind of longer pieces of content and kind of very personal kind of discussions rather than around issues or around connections in social networks. Germany is a great market. It's a market where you get a lot of Q&A, people looking for information, looking for answers, and a lot of the work that goes on in social media there is very much around people sharing and trading information, answers, questions. We've got a large community for engineers that's launched in Germany recently, in the last couple of weeks, where it is very much the difference we're seeing in that market is it's around Q&A, answers, and where really the value that people are bringing in their answers is used a lot to see how useful that person is, and kind of trading levels of accuracy is important. Whereas in the UK it's not about that. You know, in the UK there's a strong history of microblogging, partly because there's a bias towards English in the likes of Facebook and Twitter, but also because that kind of culture has grown up a lot sooner and a lot quicker there, whereas the blogging, the sharing, the questions and answers that you get in Europe, you don't get as much of in the UK. And the big question is, what does this mean for companies? Well, ultimately, taking one element and trying to translate that in every market you get is never going to work. It's never going to work for three reasons. One, because you have different audiences. What your school teacher in Milan wants is probably very different to what a kindergarten teacher in Michigan wants. Different people, different reasons in different ways. Two, because the social media landscape is different in different countries. Italy, it's about media sharing. Germany, it's around Q&A and information trading. In the UK, it's all about Twitter, some would say. And then finally, really, because the position that a brand has in different markets is different. This morning, in fact, I was with a company who were saying that in Spain is a real growth market for them, whereas in the UK, they're a very established brand. And in France, they've got as far where their product name is actually used as a verb. Different brands in different positions in different markets, different social media landscapes in different markets, and different people wanting different things in different markets from a consumer perspective. So the thought that you can take a Facebook policy, Facebook page, and just migrate it into every country just really misses the real value you can get from looking at how you take your social media across the territories you operate in, and spending a bit of time looking at who you want to engage, what the landscape is out there and what your competitors are doing, and really what you in country want to achieve. And if you do that, you can start to really work with those countries and get something that works in that context, rather than something that works in the US and you hope will work in Russia or Italy.